Hey there. It's taken me about a year to get here and produce this video. I've been planning for the longest time to put out a string of videos, but I guess what you call dizziness that Jay talked about in his last video has been really taking its toll on me. I bet you anything if I get stopped on the highway that the cops will throw me in jail for drunk driving or something like that. I just can't even walk straight. And it's hard to think straight. Anyway, this video is extremely important. I've tried to contact two, three source consultants and ask their opinion about what it is I'm going through. And basically, they just very nicely said, proceed forward. And couldn't give me any feedback, nor could I get feedback from some other people I spoke to that are part of the Spiritual Foundation family. And what I'm leading up to say is that in every sense of the word, I've gone rogue on this crank up, this DNA ICUC I got from Jay back in September of 2017. I guess you can call it celebrated my third anniversary back on the 4th here, September. It's currently, what is it? September 15th today, and it's a Monday, and I've got to get something out because things are moving so quickly for me. Essentially, I mean, I could go on forever and talk about things, and the purpose of my videos really is for you out there in the membership, the Spiritual Foundation member family. Um, Use what I have to say as a comparative. I mean, of course, I'm just 3 years into this stuff. Most of you are way more advanced than I in your metaphysical skills. But there's something about what I'm doing. I can't find indication that anybody else is doing it or is too shy to talk about it. Um, Let me start off by saying, can you see what I'm doing here? I don't know if the camera's picking it up, but I am doing something with my fingers that maybe most of you can't do. Or this right here. Let's see if I can get in the camera. What do you think I'm doing with this? And I'm not jerking your chain. I'm leading up to something here. Jay was doing the same thing. Hold on, the screen went screwed up. Jay was doing the same thing back in March 18th or something of this year, 2020, when he was speaking to Alexis, the stargazer. And essentially what I've been doing is throwing my chi. I say chi instead of metaphysical energy. It's just a one-syllable word compared to 8. So I'm throwing my chi back at me, but what's going on exactly is that my body is so sensitive to this stuff that um, I can interpret shapes. I can interpret shapes of my hand. For example, if you do ASL, American Sign Language, you know, this right here is a T in ASL, American Sign Language. See if I can get on the screen correctly. This is an S. That is an R. I mean, it goes on and on and on. But I can feel those shapes inside. Let me pull this down a little bit. I can feel it inside my chest here. God, I need to really back up so you guys can see what I'm doing here. And I figured out the physics of the metaphysics of this stuff, in part because hold tight, I've been getting a hold of a bunch of books to explain this stuff. What is this edition? This is Volume 2, Polarity Therapy by Dr. Randolph Stone. And where's the second book? Second book here. And what else have I been leading on? I'm just throwing stuff at you guys, okay? I got Limitless Mind for remote viewing, which I can do. And I've been buying the whole series of Adam McKeon out of Vancouver. I've got all his books here. And then lastly, I've got Richard Gordon from Quantum Touch. Seems like a lot of people are kind of getting into this more, but I'm looking at the concepts, and I'm not necessary to confirm or define what it is I'm going through. I'm not using the information I'm learning to incorporate within my own journey, within my own metaphysical development. I'm on the course of doing something that Mike is doing currently, and that is, I hope I don't digress so much I forget my place and where I'm going here. At 68 years old, you start to forget things, right? And you younger folks, you got that to look forward to, right? Back in, what was it, like March, April, May of 2019, Jay was talking about how, among other things, he just spits out all kinds of information. He was talking about how he's going to crank up the world, and he's done that, many times before, with a lot of the other videos he's put out, and I've copied them all, and you should too. Use 4K Video Downloader from 4kdownload.com, I think. Download everything that he's put out on his channel, okay, for future reference. It's vital, important information, if not historical. So Jay talked about how he's going to crank up the world, and I thought that was really fascinating. This gentleman is so powerful that when he crosses over, he can do something like that. I mean, imagine this. And so I said to myself at that time, well, let's put some definition on or a mission statement to where I'm going with my own metaphysicality. Up until 2019, literally, I've just been going through for 21 months. I've just been going through all kinds of physiological, anatomical, emotional, psychological changes. They've been blowing me away, and boy, it's been a tough road to haul. So essentially what I'm doing is I'm just feeling everything as I go along. And even if I can't define what I'm doing, I'm resting, I'm sticking to it. And I won't defer to anybody's definition or opinion or concept of to lean on, because I want everything to be of myself and by myself. And in fact, Bershu Onder, oh, that woman, she's a fantastic person. She recently, I don't know how many months it's been now since she's taken down all the videos off of YouTube, and I emailed her and I asked her why. It's her story to tell, okay? I can't talk about that, right? It's kind of a personal thing. But I also wrote a long letter. I crafted a very persuasive letter, I thought, trying to convince her to come back and bring back her videos, because there's two videos I thought were just profound, and these two videos in particular helped me define my mission statement. And one of them was on stone energy. The second one was on oversearching the internet, which she highly described as something that's counterproductive to one's personal development metaphysically. And I have to agree. Everything I've done has been without leaning on, again, people's information. Even though I'm on the internet, I'm downloading PDF books on metaphysical stuff, Ayurvedic medicine to your zebra spots. I mean, just everything I can. I don't read it, but I download it for future reference. And the same with the videos. I've downloaded tons of channels. It could be Frank, it could be Sam Sylvain, started to do him, and he took his videos off the internet. I wish that he hadn't done that, because the stuff he's saying is so important. It's the nuance, people, that he talks about in his journey that people have got to hook up to. And all I'm doing is kind of verifying what I'm going through, again, when I listen to something like him. And then even so, Alexis, the Stargazer, I forget how to pronounce his name. I apologize to him. He's done something which is, I believe, in one of his videos, I can't remember the title. Maybe if I do this video over again, I'll get the title. but he had the huevos to talk about his personal life from the very beginning. Number one, he put himself out there in the world for good or bad, for criticism or praise. And the second thing he did was, like Sam, but even more so, he talks about the nuance of his metaphysical development. And I think that's so key, because people can say things, oh, uh, whatever they're talking about, astral projection or stone energy, they can say, okay, you hold the stone between your hands like this. And by the way, I've gone rogue on that. I found a better way. Sorry, Jay. I found a better way to initiate stone feeling if you've never felt stone feeling before. It's quicker. I am solar plexus energy centered. So I don't know, maybe the way I'm doing this is only pertains to people who have real difficulty feeling stone energy. But I'm going to talk about that in another video, along with some other videos I'll put out there, of course. But um, so all along, I've just been following my own intuition based on this video that Bashu has published. And essentially, what she did was she took Jay's information about just relaxing and allowing yourself to let the energy come in and feel it and all that. She took it and she added some twists and turns and posed some questions and put some feminine energy to it, and I really like that. But she also talked about trust in oneself, and I think I crossed the Rubicon in the sense that I've been I realized back in May of, actually the second week of June 2019, that I was on to something. Essentially, what I've been doing is taking the information, again, with that video that Jay was talking about in the middle part of the first quarter of 2019, if you can follow that. And he talked about energy, metaphysical energy coming from his fingers. I thought that was freaking awesome. I took that. I said, you know what? I'm going to see if I can do that myself and develop that. I got on the internet, could only find one guy, young guy, who was practicing taking his metaphysical energy, and I don't believe he was cranked up or anything, but he was going like this and testing it. And I took that idea and started practicing this stuff since the last Wednesday of May 2019 until 3 weeks later, into June. I took that exercise and I started feeling this stuff, and convinced myself, had confidence in myself to stand my ground and say, yeah, that's metaphysical energy. And so I started going down my arm. Oh, God, I need to back up so you guys can see me. I'm only close to the camera because this camera I have doesn't really pick up the sound well. So I started going down my arm. Everything's backwards here. And I got to the elbow part. And, I was feeling light breeze. I was feeling like a feeling of sand washing over me. Static electricity. It felt like my hairs were standing on end. Swear to Gaia. And I'm going, oh, okay. And then I paused. I don't know, I must have paused for a month or so. And all of a sudden, this feeling that I've been feeling up and down my arm, it jumped ship, went to the pineal part of my brain here, and just stood resident for a while. I'm going, what the frick is that? And, I wasn't practicing, that I can recall, I wasn't practicing focusing what I thought was metaphysical energy coming out of my fingers and my head. Or maybe I was. But at some point, I realized something, and that the stuff, I could feel it getting stronger and stronger every day. And I was practicing this stuff in the middle of the night. I'd get up at like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. As a 68-year-old, you get up for tea time, every night. So I'm practicing this stuff in the dead of night. There's no noise. I'm in bed. I'm prone. I'm super relaxed. And that's the time I only practice trying to cultivate and nurture this feeling coming through me. So at some point I can recall focusing my hands like this around my head. All of a sudden, one point, bam! It felt like knives were hitting my ochlea. I mean, I was in excruciating agony pain. I had to pull the hands away, and I've learned from that experience that this energy is the real thing. It's inside of me, and it's just getting stronger and stronger. So I avoid putting my fingers back there. Now I'm so used to regulating my energy that I can bring my hands up here and focus it. See, it's starting to get intense here. I can focus it around the ochlea, but I can't leave it there very long. I can comb my hair and all that kind of stuff. But okay, so it went from there, and all of a sudden, I got, I don't know what it was, lazy or something, or maybe intuitive. I started dropping this whole thing of that you see typically with people practicing like Tai Chi enthusiasts. They're going like this, and they keep their fingers together. Nah, I started to drop my fingers and keep them really loose. I don't know, probably there are people doing it out there. I just don't see it. But all of a sudden, I can feel this metaphysical energy. This is freaking cool, man. It's coming out of each finger. And mostly, if people are practicing like healing hands or something, I hope I don't get in trouble saying this, they're keeping their energy sequestered perhaps by keeping the fingers and stuff together instead of just letting it flow like this. Opening up the fingers. Right now, what I can do, and you can feel it too. I have every belief in the world that you out there, if you've been cranked up, if you've had a DNA ICUC, if you have experience with stone energy, you can do the same thing that I'm doing here. It gets better than this, folks. Believe me. You can do this stuff. For the general public, I think it's going to be kind of tough because you need these different layers of metaphysical energy. The crank up, the stone energy, and then the stuff I'm doing now. You need them as comparatives to really sort out exactly where you're going with your body, how to move your body metaphysically, energetically along. And I don't know about, in what, quantum touch? I don't know what people do here, or, how they develop their metaphysical energy. I've got a lot to say about the books I've been buying, too. Also, I'm going to kind of pause for a second. Primal Scream, that's another layer of energy that I'm going to talk about in a future video. That's something I use as a comparative. It gets kind of complex, but just realize that I'm headed in that direction at some point on my channel here. Okay, so I'm feeling each individual fingers, and it feels like pulses, like those rave gloves. Those kids. Sorry, I say kids, but you know what I'm talking about. The younger folks, or the other people, or whomever, they wear these gloves with the lights on them or lasers, and it's like I feel the individual pulses of metaphysical energies going through my body, man. It's freaking cool. It's freaking cool. So ever since I've been doing that, or I've discovered that I don't keep my fingers closed like that. I just keep them open, and I think this is key. I think people are somehow in the other protocols, metaphysical protocols, I think they hamper their advancement by keeping their fingers like that. In the beginning, it's important because you have to feel the intensity of all these fingers together, right? But after a while, when you've got the flow of this metaphysical energy, chi, moving, you don't need them anymore. And the feelings that you have are incredibly complex with this chi going through you. I mean, it's infinite. It's freaking infinite. And I'm getting to my theme here, my main theme here. Okay, so I went from my head, and by the way, as I'm going around now at this point and feeling this stuff through my head, I'm between the layers of my skin and my skull. I can go up my nose. I can feel the chi going around. I, I'm feeling at this time rapid sensations of those trigger points. And I say trigger points because I happen to come across, as I was collecting information, I happen to find some charts on triggerpoints.net, I think, on where they're located. And every time I would point my fingers on the areas that I know were trigger points, because I can trace them on the charts, right? They would sound off. And I just kept focusing on those and focusing on those, thinking that, oh, maybe what trigger point, again, I'm not doing any reading. I'm really naive about trigger points and meridians and all that kind of stuff, and chakras even. I'm keeping it simple. Just like those folks probably won't understand or know about anything about around the world and, the Brazilian jungles or the eastern part of Russia or something, or Soviet Union. Um, so, um, so where am I at here? I'm going to lose my place if I don't watch it. Um, so I'm feeling this stuff, and and I this is key, folks. You gotta do this. I learned that you can initiate chi feeling in you or metaphysical energy in you with the movement of a hand, pointing the fingers. But after that, what you do is your hands and arms and fingers follow the chi. You're not pushing it. You can see someone who's moving their hands, and it looks like they're orchestrating or conducting a symphony or something. There's definite energy behind it. The energy, the physical energy, is in front of the metaphysical energy, and that stifles the flow of the chi that you really want to end up feeling. And so, okay, so the chi was developing from my head down through my throat, and I noticed something really interesting as I'm approaching my gut level. Uh, when I focused the chi at my throat, the pineal, from here to here, right? The pineal area, I would gag. It's like now I was at that point, I was getting the feeling of this chi that was coming out was just intensifying. That's the key word. Intensifying what's going on in my body. Um, and I'm choking because somehow I'm affecting my lungs, right? I can't breathe or something. And there's a tickle there, and I start to choke, so I keep my hands away from that. The chi immediately comes down right below my breast area, and you can't see it here. Gosh darn it. I gotta, I don't know, set up another video system or something um, so you can see what I'm doing. But anyway, right below the breast, and then it jumped ship again and went to my toes. And on its own accord, I mean, the feeling there, and the feeling, yeah, the feeling was the same as in my hands and my arms, feeling of sand, light breeze and stuff. And that feeling really was nothing more than my body opening up to a new level of energy coming through me. And it took its time. Typically, like when I went through my crank up, did I talk to Jay about this? Or I sent him an email, and he wrote me back. He said, for me, I don't know about you guys, but for me, the energy is coming from my left side, the heart side. But in addition to that, I mean, when it's flowing through the body and taking, and as you go through the general crank up, your body's going through these changes, right? So it's coming through my body at an angle too, up from maybe my knee and coming across diagonally. And the last spot that hit me, where I could feel vibration, and you guys know about vibration, right? My last spot was my ear, and I know that, and if you can recall, Jay gave us a second crank up December 18th, 2018. I think, yeah, excuse me, that's the chi there. Um, and I could feel that layer of energy floating through my body as well. And I use that as a comparative. Right now, oh my gosh. Oh God, when I do that with my eyes, I look terrible, don't I? I am vibrating so much that I can't be around stone energy. I've got a couple spheres, the max meta vision and the max um, multi-dimension sphere, plus other stones, dragon egg, star essonite, and some other stuff here I got. Frank gave me this, some other stuff, but it's so strong. I can't be around it, and I've got it here, and I can feel it. I just dropped one of my stones on the floor here. Somebody gave me this. Let me explain before I move forward. In Bursu's stone energy video, again, what she removed a while back, she talks about how doesn't um, she doesn't obtain stones because of their names or their popularity. She gets them because of what she feels from them. Somebody gave me this stone. I don't know what the hell. What is it? Azula something or other? I make it a point not to be detailed. And for you people out there who have keen minds that exist on specificity, this video ain't gonna be for you. Later on in my succeeding videos, I'm going to have to be very specific anatomically what's going on inside my body as I direct my chi energy through my body, out of my body, around my body, and all that. I'm going to have to learn essentially human anatomy, and I've got human anatomy books here, but that'll help you guys. That'll satisfy your thirst for specificity, I guess you can say. So uh, this energy, folks, it's different from vibration. It's different. It's different than the crank up. Although maybe what's going on is that, again, as I mentioned before, the chi, the metaphysical energy that's coming out of my fingers, is intensifying what's. In fact, that's right. It's intensifying what's there already, and so I've tried to capitalize on that by trying to at least look at these charts from where did I put those? Oh, on the ground. The polarity books, just verifying what it is I'm feeling. Positive energy basically is coming out of your fingers. Jay just recently mentioned, maybe 4 videos back or something, that you can feel the energy out of your hands, and you'll hear people talk about creating chi balls with their hands. Now, I'm in conflict with this. I feel this differently. And Jay mentioned in one of his videos here recently that he can make chi balls with his hands like that, but I feel this differently. I it's not chi balls that people are trying to make to cultivate and grow their metaphysical energies, particularly in the martial arts. You know, they like to gather their energy in their stomach so that they can, I don't know, fight off a opponent or something, or do tricks out of of physical strength out there. And you can see all that stuff on YouTube. What's happening here, and what people see my hands. What's going on here is both positive energy is exiting from the palms and the fingers, and what you're seeing as you close your hand, you're seeing the repulse of two similar poles, magnetic poles, coming together and pushing each other away. I can see this stuff, folks, and you can too. It's no big deal. Jay, I remember a couple years back, Jay was talking about how he has all these abilities, and he doesn't tell us everything, right? But he's so used to using them. It's no big deal, and that's the way I am now with this stuff. I'm just beginning to see this stuff in the daytime. Mostly it's at nighttime. I'm not going to go any further than that, because if you are going to develop the kind of ability that I'm leading up to talk about in depth, you got to figure this stuff out yourself. I can't spoon feed everything to you. I think that the struggle in finding your own metaphysicality is just as important as the information behind it. Okay, so what I see is my metaphysical energy going off like this, okay, and it's not there encapsulated in this magnetic field. And you can look up properties of magnetism, and you can see the pictures of this stuff. I just don't see this stuff the way everybody else is, and yeah, I don't know. If I find out later on that I'm wrong, then I'll apologize and I'll come back and explain it. But well, anyway. So after I started to realize that polarity was in the body is just as important as understanding how to manipulate your energy, I could feel, and this must have been, God, when was this? This must have been maybe 6 months. Okay, so I'm recollecting time frames here. So I started to feel this energy in the last part of May, June, July, August, September. I would say maybe October, November. Keep in mind, I'm an older person. You younger folks, if you're going to develop this kind of stuff, you'll probably do it quicker than me, guaranteed. Okay, so I started to feel the different energy levels between my fingers and my hands, and Jay also talks about that too. I can feel different levels in the back of my hand and my arms. And the way I noticed this is because it was at one point while I was lying in bed, I put my arm up to my pineal. And I asked myself, I wonder if there's an energy difference between the arm, or even if there is an energy coming from the arm to begin with, and the back of the hand compared with the palm and the finger. And yeah, you can feel the difference. It's very slight. But this is important that you know this. I'm telling you, don't forget this stuff. I have not heard this type of information from anybody else, and I'm not taking credit for, discovery or something. Maybe the healing hands folks out there, know about this. But anyway, what's important about this is that when you start to ultimately to feel the flow of chi, metaphysical energy in your body, it's not a matter of speed or pointing blocks of energy from your hand and fingers combined. Again, it's opening up the fingers, and you'll notice as you become more and more sensitive to this energy that you can regulate it. I mean, this is freaking awesome too. I mean, how many freaking awesomes can I tell you, right? And there's a difference between the energy of I gotta stay in the focus of the picture here. There's a difference in the way the energy is being expressed from your hand. If it's like this, if it's like this, if it's like this, if it's like this, all this stuff is radiating out, and you can see it. It radiates out from your arms and from your hands and from your fingers. And essentially, this is like you begin to realize, or I begin to realize, this is like a knob on a stove or something. You regulate the heat, right? I can regulate how much energy comes to my body, and my body reacts holographically, man. Oh God, another exciting point. I can see my metaphysical energy holographically in my body, and I know people like, who is that guy here? Oh, Charlie. No, that's not Charlie Goldsmith. This is Adam McKeon. Charlie Goldsmith and Adam McKeon I think they're sourced, but they haven't been cranked up. They are very popular on the internet. Um, Charlie Mc, uh, Charlie Goldsmith out of Australia cranks people up remotely. So does Adam here. He goes by his pen name is just Adam. I guess that's classy. These two guys are just super, super nice people who are ritually cranking up people and helping them with their sicknesses. Okay, and they have conferences and conventions, maybe, I don't know, but they do a lot of their work online. And people, what do you call it? Anyway, I won't get into it. So I I I I'm feeling this stuff holographically, and I'm trying to figure out if there's a way I can create a protocol or some kind of a uniform approach to not only test my body to see how far I can feel this energy. And I was looking at pranic healing by just a video of this guy, what's his name? Stephen Coe. Last name spelled C-O. He's on YouTube. And I was looking at some, just siphoning through the YouTube videos. I was looking at people are doing all kinds of different stuff with the healing hands. And I'm hesitating here because I gotta put this in a well, anyway, I'm trying to say too much all at once, I guess. Anyway, I was trying to find something that would classify or characterize my hands in such a way that I could present this as a demo more effectively to my audience, you. And so I looked at pranic healing. Stephen Coe's doing this on the spine and healing, L4, L5 area pain in the spine. And also I was looking at ballet, how they're moving their hands. And of course there's, Tai Chi, people are moving their hands as well. Then I started looking at like ballet. Or excuse me, I was looking at Marcel Marceau, mime. And the free-flowing part of the hands didn't seem quite uniform. I'm looking for words. I'm reaching for words, folks. My mind is so fuzzy because of this ongoing dizziness I have. It's hard sometimes to think straight. Then I came across ASL, American Sign Language, and that did it for me. I was able to learn the alphabet and American Sign Language alphabet, and I'm teaching myself American Sign Language. I've got a proctor who's around somewhere in the community here. I gotta track him down. He can teach me this stuff as well. But what I'm able to do with this now, again, is holographically see the shapes of my hand as I'm pointing it at the chest. And it's kind of, the hologram is partly out of the chest, and then inside I'm touching my organs. And it just dawned on me, there might be something practical on this. As I'm watching things like Libby on the Daily Sign YouTube, she's a gal who just had a curiosity about learning sign language, and she can see, she can hear, but she does, like many other people on YouTube, they sign to music, and this is cool. This is really cool stuff. So where am I going with this? So I'm getting the feeling that the people now who are deaf-blind even, they can't do both. I mean, this is such a sad thing. I probably can't say more than that because, I don't know, somebody will be sensitive enough to say, we're not sad people, and you aren't. But it's just coming across this for the first time. Like Helen Keller. An amazing woman. If you look at her history, I've downloaded her books. She learned to speak, even though she couldn't hear or see. Well, there are people out there um, who are, again, who are blind and deaf, and they communicate protactily, like Helen Keller did. And what, and I'm going to have some links down below this video on where you could actually see how these people communicate. Essentially what they do is ASL by touching each other, okay? You can see where I'm going with this, right? They touch each other and they can feel each other's hands, but I don't know how complex that can be, how sophisticated it can be. The stuff that I'm able to do with the throwing my energy, I'm thinking that if these folks are cranked up, not DNA'd, okay, that's too powerful, but just cranked up, they could use this idea of communicating with their chi as a complement, not to take over, but just as a complement, substitute or take over what it is that the protactile ASL approach in communicating can't do. And you don't understand. If you folks are doing this already, then let me know, because at this point, I mean, I'm just blown away by this stuff. It's hard to imagine. I can feel the difference in shapes. Again, an S, T, K, or P, you know, M, N. I mean, it goes on and on and on and on. I can feel it because the shapes the way the fingers are pointing redirect the energy somewhere else. In this case, this actually isn't a sign. It's a Y maybe. But the stronger part of my energy coming out of my hand, and you can feel this too, man. The strongest part of it is coming out here, and I've got the thumb pointing at my brain. I can feel my brain. When I was talking about, and I never did explain this, did I? In the beginning of my video, I was talking about how my hand could move the finger. I can move my fingers like 1 millimeter. I don't have to move them like this. Each finger, each thumb, can trace the outline of a toe, of each toe in my foot. Yeah, hard to believe, right? But I've gotten to the point that that I can just, with a minimal of movement, trace the outline of my, and I can feel it. I can point my energy at my feet. I can feel it. I can put my hands out here beyond the frames of the picture here, and I can feel the chi moving in my bodies in the most intimate way. I mean, this is cool. I don't know why nobody talks about this stuff. Jay doesn't talk about this stuff. Maybe he's leaving it for us to find out on our own. But folks, if you're not doing this stuff, man, you're losing. I mean, this is only the beginning that I'm showing you. You know. So what my mission statement at this point is, unless it's forced on me, to walk away from remote viewing. This stuff, by the way, enhances your ability to remote view, okay, and to astral project. I mean, I can do amazing things, right? Sounds like I'm arrogant or arrogant rising. No, it's not. It's just what happens. It follows when you start to develop this stuff. So, and I practice this stuff all the time, focused on my head, my brain. And it's only maybe last night I started thinking, maybe I should start practicing more around the body, even the feet, you know, because ultimately I want to see if I can develop this ability into a formalized new communication that the protactile folks can use. I think this would be great. And the only way that you guys are going to believe me that that what I'm telling you is the truth is you got to develop this stuff. So I'm giving you, you know, more or less the kind of rudimentary breakdown of how I started to develop this stuff. And folks, you better develop this stuff, because there's just more that happens, you know, along the way. I mean, I'm finding new things about this that are developing. And I'm not saying walk away from, you know, the stuff that Aya from Metaphysical Awakening is you know, teaching us. She has superlative videos, man. I'm telling you. she's giving you the lowdown on the nuance of stuff as well. Her approach is a little different. Um, I I like the intricacies of stuff that Alexis, the Stargazer, talks about, and even Sam Sylvain. I'm not putting Aya down. She's incredible. She's a blessing for what she's doing for the community of folks who are trying to waken up metaphysically. So you would laugh if you would see me. Okay, typically sitting in front of a stereo or a movie screen or a TV screen because I'm taking this energy now and I'm orchestrating um, the same feel that an actor would project or feel when they are acting. It's I'm looking for a word. It'll come to me later. But but all I'm doing is John Wayne, for example, McClintock. Oh, one of my favorite all-time movies. I like westerns. So he's there in the saddle and he's roughing it around the range, and I'm moving my hands like that. I'm tweaking the energy in me, the feeling energy, and it's like, what's that word that I'm looking for? The reason why we all watch movies, whatever topics they are, we project ourselves into the movie, into the scenes, and that's what this stuff does. I'm duplicating the same feeling of being there, whatever's taking place, and it's like, uh, would you rather think about sex or would you rather do it? Okay, I mean that's a comparative, a little off the wall, but it's good comparative. You want to. Well, you understand what I'm trying to say. It's that, and then also uh, uh, this thing about astral projection and remote viewing. It's the frickin' same thing, man. It's the same thing. When I astral project, and I do it all the time, even during the daytime. I'm into it holographically, and I believe that everybody else is doing this already, but maybe I'm just the only one who, stepped up to the plate and kind of announced it to the world. This happens. It's commonplace to the people in our family, our circle. So typically, when I astral project, I went from 2D to 3D in the beginning to holographically, and the difference between those three is that holographic means, the way I've defined it, the way I've heard it, read it defined before, is that you see something from any angle, and that's what I do when I go inside my body. Most of the time I practice astral projection inside my body. I go inside my body, and I can go to any crease, crack, crevice, nook, or cranny or hole you can think of, and I can touch it, and I can tweak it, and this is different from intention, folks, and you know yourselves. You can focus with your metaphysical energy on some part of your body, and you can see it. But when you add this layer with the fingers, Jay says that this metaphysical energy chi is strong in the right hand. This is my right, and compared to the left, but it's only very slight. Okay, but most of the time I practice with my right, knowing that the left can do the same thing, of course. So in the beginning, when you try to test to see whether what I'm telling you is the truth or not, is you just focus on a part of your body, feel that, and then bring in more layers of energy, and it's like, God, this stuff, it feels so good, and you have to understand, folks, as a 68 years old person who represents the senior folks out there, rising to elder class at some point, we as a group primarily are mostly interested in just well-being, just feeling good, having better days, without physical pain or conflict, to just have a restful, peaceful life. You younger folks, you want to get out there and burn trails and you do all kinds of neat things. And I understand that. But when you hear me talk about focusing more on this chi stuff, it's going to be because this is all about where I want to be and progress forward. I know I'm being contacted by, the out of towners. I see eyes once in a while, and I've been contacted, and they know I'm rejecting them, and it's intentionally because I'm reserving all my energy to figuring out this chi thing that's floating through me, and it's headed towards healing. I haven't even talked about that. And I don't even. This video is going on forever and ever. I'm probably going to stop it now. I'm going to talk about healing, and this stuff does. This stuff heals. Rotator cuff stuff. I figured out a way to manipulate that metaphysically to calm the pain down there. The rotator cuffs, uh, ladies, is mostly a kind of a guy thing. Later on in life, it takes a long time for this stuff to heal. And I'm not saying that when I heal myself, like the L4, L5 area in my back, which I've had screwed up all my life, and it's only been maybe the last 9 months or so, maybe even a year, I just rarely feel pain from it anymore. And I can't believe it. I can't believe it. It gets a little bit more complicated. I had a consult with Siobhan back in February of 2019, and that was before Jay made the proclamation that nobody, does any consults, right? I don't know what the status is now, the current consultants, whether they can or can't do crank-ups. But she went in on my right leg, and I was in excruciating pain, and this was the reason why I contacted her. She's in Ireland, of course. I had, senior moment. Sciatica. I had sciatica so bad. I was in pain, and she, like that. It's like, dang, that woman's incredible. And it didn't heal completely all at once, but it subsided, and then it gradually just drifted away. And she told me she was working with the meridians. I didn't even bother to ask her, by the way, if she cranked me up. And if she did, I think only a source person can feel it. Jay definitely could tell me if she did. I had for the longest time wanted to get different crank ups just so I can understand how to feel other people's energy. I can't feel other people's energy. Well, I can, you know what I'm saying, but I can't distinguish how to go up. Well, I don't know. There's people out there that can. Anyway, let's drop that line of talk. So, healing is one thing. Enhancing my astral projection, leading into remote viewing. Oh gosh, I privately will talk about that to people, but to the public, no. I don't want to get in trouble. But it blew me away. Anyway, developing this chi can do all this different stuff. And what other things can I add? I mean, this is a long video. I might as well keep going as long as I can, right? Doesn't mean I have to upload it to YouTube. I can just have this as, part of an archive, a film archive for myself. This stuff passes through objects. I noticed when I was driving my car, I have this little car, and on a summer day, on a summer day, you know how you drop your arm outside the door and you just kind of tap on the door and everything? Yeah, I started to do that, and I'm feeling the chi tickle my toes. So, and I started to do that, and hey, this is incredible stuff. Is this intention? I got to test myself because I don't want to, go off into a kind of a crazy direction if something's not there. So I was focusing on I'm driving here, and I'm focusing on my toes. Okay, I'm using intent. I'm focusing on my toes, and then I put my fingers up, and I can feel As my hand moves, I can feel the waves of chi floating across my toes. So this is all leading somewhere. And where I hopefully all the stuff that I'm cultivating as either a new, I don't know, maybe a new metaphysical direction, or just something that I'm opening up a new thread on for the community. I hope it goes to remote healing, because ultimately, I mean, if Jay was to ask me what I would love doing when I cross over, or even before, I like to be able to crank up, not DNA, but crank up the deaf blind community and show them how they can communicate with this stuff. If I can do it, they can do it. Now I say crank up, regular crank up, as compared to DNA. This DNA stuff is so powerful. The physiological changes I've been going through, man. I tell you, I don't know if I should have. I should have probably started out with just a regular crank up, because I've been really kind of suffering, and I don't want to. I don't want to. I think it's for younger people. When you get older, who gives a crap about, you know, changing your DNA? Um, you just want to feel good. If you got to go through a DNA to crank up specifically to feel better, I don't know. I don't know what to say. See, my concern is if the blind deaf folks were to go through DNA crank ups and they were to go through what I've been going through, it's gonna, excuse me, it's gonna really bother them. I mean, there are nights, the first 21 months when I got my DNA DNA ICUC, uh, it was really hard, very hard to sleep. The stones, and I could feel, by the way, you all of you realize by now that Jay has cranked up the stones. He's announced two separate times the first quarter of last year, 2019. So I don't know now, maybe he's cranked them up a third time. But each time he cranked them up, I'd have to take my sphere that was located originally, or both of them, originally 14 inches from my head, and I'd have to keep moving them away. Right now, I've got all my stones, and I've got these out. Got that one. What the? See, I don't even know the name of that. Here's the original stone I got from Diana. That's that. Oh, I've got it numbered to know which one it is. You can't see it in the bag, but it's the star essonite, the high crystal star essonite, that got me convinced that I should go and get a crank up, which I subsequently did. Very fine specimen. What is it? It must be. You can't see it here. 20 grams, 20 to 30 grams. She gave me. God, I wish I had a boulder of that stuff. I gotta talk about this in a separate video. It'll blow you away. So, getting back to what I was saying, I love if I could have a dream job. It would be to crank people up and then to teach people who are deaf-blind how to communicate like this. The problem is I don't have the pedigree or the background. In that community, as I understand it, it's somewhat of a closed community to outsiders, and the trust maybe isn't there or something. I keep hearing from Libby, a great young lady who produces the Daily Sign ASL to music videos on YouTube. She talks about how even she is being pushed away from the community of the deaf folks because she has hearing. And but anyway, there's always challenges. There are always bridges to cross. But certainly I can teach this stuff to leaders in that community, and they could pass it on to other folks. Folks, it's there. I'm telling you. I'm telling you, it's there. And there's other applications that I'm sure that can be used with the signing, and signing just is the best way to approach this, in my opinion. Um, but what else? What have I not talked about? Music. I I do this stuff to music. I compose music in midair. I mean, yeah, the frequencies are coming to me, and I'm taking them, and I'm intercepting them before they reach me. That's the only thing I can tell you, this is the only way I can characterize it. And I I like listening to like Bobby McFerrin, who is my favorite vocalist in the world. I mean, the guy's just off the hook, phenomenal. What he can do with his voice, I can take his voice, and I can move it around me. I can move it around and stuff. And you guys know about this stuff by now. You've been into metaphysical stuff for long enough, so you get my drift. Um, but every day's an adventure. I mean, I'm growing every day, and I. What about? Oh, I haven't talked about. Um, I shouldn't be hesitating. It's not good when you produce a video. You know, people have transactional minds these days compared to the older generation like I'm in. People want information like that. Come on, give it to me. I got things to do. I got people to see, places to go to, things to do. You know, people want fast talking hosts. I am not going to be fast talking. I just can't do it. Well, whatever I didn't cover in this video, I'll cover in another one. Some of the things I'm going to be covering in the future is my experience with stone energy, which is unique, and how I developed it, and and along with that, the experience I've had with the Fae. Oh, those guys, they are mischievous. I live in a forest, and those guys come walking through, and they keep messing with me. And they're a bunch of pervs, man. I'm telling you. I'll explain that. I'm saying that in a friendly way, of course. And they laugh at me. They laugh at me. And I'll explain that later. So I'm going to talk about Bershu. I've got a video I should either upload to YouTube on Bershu. I might have to do that. It's kind of weak, but I actually, before she removed her videos, I took that over searching the internet video and I transcribed it to print. So she can get mad at me all she wants, but I'm going to take that and I'm going to post that. I think that is one of the most profound videos I've seen. And Jay produces incredibly magnificent videos, but there's just something about this video. People have got to keep in mind the points that she's talking about as you begin your metaphysical journey. It's like learning the ABCs, maybe, of how to get started. And I think it's just so important, so you don't get misdirected. It just helped me tremendously. So, stone energy, I'll talk about her new developments and where I'm going with this ASL. I kind of would like to train people on this stuff because there's some nuance, that getting the finesse of feeling this stuff so it just takes off like wildfire in you. And I think I'd like to do this on Skype, although the computer I'm using now to record this video can't be used online anymore. It's got a bad port. I can't hook up, internet connection with it. So, and I can't use my other computer, so I'm kind of screwed here. Anyway, okay, so I want to do that. I want to talk about my primal therapy experience 45 years ago. And that's important. I forecast that off in the far future that there will have to be a merging between primal therapy and metaphysical crank-ups and the protocols involved with that, and the community of people involved with that. The reason being is I was kidnapped as a kid. And this is a really hard topic to talk about because 60 years later plus, I'm still affected by it. You never recover from it. So I need to talk about that, not as a cathartic thing as much as just to explain the feeling process I had to go through to become alive again after I shut down from being kidnapped. And it's only recently, as a matter of fact, that I haven't been living in fear or terror. And I bet you've never heard that before, but yeah. And my life, because of Jay having the crank up, the DNA ICUC crank up, it meant it was a life-changing moment. So I need to explain that, what goes on with primal therapy. Most of you probably haven't heard about it before or familiar with it, but I'll keep it at that and explain that whole episode of going through therapy to recover from being kidnapped, so to speak, in the future. What else? What else is out there? There's some more. I just can't remember offhand. Anyway, I probably have gone on at least 45 minutes. So if this video seems fitting to post to the internet, bada bing bada boom, is going there. If not, I'll redo this thing. But anyway, it's fun doing this stuff, by the way. For you folks out there who don't produce videos, give it a shot. I mean, I must have scripted this thing at least 100 times. And I finally realized, I'm not like Aya. Aya is so well polished at producing her videos. She goes by notes sometimes, and I think off the top of her head other times. But her videos just flow. Mine are just going to have to be like stories from the stage. That PBS TV series. It's just impromptu. That's just the way it's going to have to be. Anyway, I didn't even dress up for this thing either. I just threw something together, and here I am. Okay, so folks, I'll get back to you. Take notes on the stuff I'm showing you. Remember this stuff. This is key information. Record this video. I might even post the video or another video of the same content and then remove it later as I get more polished in my presentation. But for now, this should do. So let me turn this sucker off if I know how to do that.